Howdy guys, Jimmy Song here. I wanted to talk in this video about the energy usage related to Bitcoin. A lot of journalists are making these ridiculous linear extrapolations saying that it's going to cause global warming or climate change or whatever they're calling it these days. And they're claiming that Bitcoin is going to ruin civilization, et cetera, et cetera. And I just want to put a lot of these really bad statistics and math and extrapolations to rest because they are exactly that. They're horrible extrapolations. They make all of these unfounded assumptions about the cost of energy and where it's going to come from. A lot of the energy that's utilized in Bitcoin is honestly renewable energy, right? Hydroelectric dams, geothermal, wind power, solar power. It's not coming from necessarily fossil fuels unless it's like the burn off that you need to do for an oil well before you can actually pump it or something like that. The fact of the matter is Bitcoin miners are really motivated to reduce the cost of energy that's utilized to actually mine. This is true for any business. You don't want to utilize the most expensive supplier. You want to use the cheapest supplier, especially if they are equal in terms of what you get. And for energy, it's just kilowatt hours, right? Like it's very simple what you are getting, and it's more or less equivalent. So for a lot of these producers, the big advantage that miners have is that they can pretty much be located anywhere where you have a decent internet connection, and it doesn't actually need to be that decent, actually, because you just need to produce that one block every once in a while. It's not like a continuous gigabit connection that you need. Now, of course, that can help because you can maximize revenue and stuff. But I mean, these are infrastructure problems that you can usually deal with as a miner. The cost of electricity that they get because they're able to move around, you're not like a fixed utility or something, is that it is fairly cheap. So if you know that there's an energy excess in one region of the world, Iceland's geothermal power is a good example. They have lots of excess energy through the geothermal power, which is completely clean. It's just heat coming out of the earth. But they can't use all of it, and battery technology simply isn't good enough to store that energy and ship it elsewhere. And like the cost of transmitting to like Greenland or some other place would be too much. So I mean, a lot of it just sort of gets wasted. So what happens when you have electricity or energy that they can't really get rid of? They just keep dropping the price until there's a market clearing price, and at that point, a lot of these miners come in and say, you know what, it might be worth setting up a facility in Iceland to soak up all of this extra energy. Now, that the price of that energy is very, very tiny, right? Like it's often like a couple of cents per kilowatt hour or something like that. Whereas, in like New York City or something like that, it's probably like 15 cents or something. So it makes sense for them to do that because the savings is big enough. But it's important to realize, like, it's not taking away from your air conditioning or your, TV or something like that. It's not competing at that level. It gets the absolute lowest prices for energy around the world rather than the most expensive, which is what you typically pay for because your location is fixed. Right? If you happen to live near a hydroelectric dam, then yeah, you're probably going to get pretty good energy rates. But if you live where like where there's not a source of convenient energy available very very nearby, then you're not going to get those rates. And that's part of the deal, is that energy, because these mining operations can move around a little bit and they have some portability, they are able to take advantage of some of the lowest ones. And it's good for the people that are producing the renewable energy or whatever energy that happens to be very, very cheap versus maybe the fossil fuels, which tend to be very fixed in location anyway. So I like it's kind of a ridiculous article, and I wanted to debunk it because it just makes so many stupid assumptions, and that's linear extrapolation at its absolute worst. So hopefully that helps you. I wanted to make this video to make that clear. Please let me know what you think in the comments. This song is done.